About 30 minutes ago, I was with my daughter, my toddler, at little gym, and I'm getting these notifications. I'm trying to be present with her, but I'm also like, I want to go live. And so here we are, about 30 minutes after this news is broken. Cody Bellinger is opting in with the Cubs for 2024. I want to just spend all this time getting your reactions. So join me live here. Give me your reactions. I'm going to read some Twitter reactions right now as well. Make sure you're subscribed if you are not subscribed. If you want all things Cubs during this offseason, we're doing fun trade proposals. We're doing breakdowns. We've got great guest interviews. What's up, Rob? Yes, wow, indeed. He has opted back in. So $30 million is off the books. Well, back on the books, I should say. Still going to put the Cubs around $70 million if they do push the luxury threshold like last year. Tell me, what do you think about this? What do you think is going to happen? Was this the right call? Was this the wrong call? Like this video. Make sure to comment. I'm going to read through these comments. I'm going to be on here for about 15 minutes, and then it is date day for my wife and I, so we are going out to do a bike ride and have some lunch. So please, let me know what you think about it. Justin Martins, what's up, man? As long as he performs like he did in 23, I'm cool with it. I think we're all on that page, right? If he can be a 2023 flirting with MVP votes, again, I think that's the right call. I think Rob says, I think he can improve on last year. Happy to have him. So let me start with that question. For those of you that are live here, do you think this $30 million opt-in, we're going to get Cody Bellinger 2023 version or Cody Bellinger 2024 version? Keep in mind, right? Cody Bellinger in 2023 signed in December. I think it was at the winter meetings. And so he knew way ahead of time that he was going to be a Cub. And there's a lot that goes into just the comfort of that, the training, where you know you're going to go for spring training. Are you going to Arizona? Are you going to Florida? Where are you getting a house? All those things, or an apartment. And then it wasn't until spring training of this year, of 2024, that Bellinger actually opted in. Potentially, maybe that hurt his training. Maybe that hurt his mindset. Maybe that just made him rush a lot of things. Just like you saw with Blake Snell, Jordan Montgomery, pretty much any Scott Boras client did a major disservice to a lot of those guys this last year. So anyway, let me know what you think. Okay, let's go through these. I'm going to actually bring this up on my computer so it's easier for me to read as well. I'm going to go through some Twitter responses too. Let's just go ahead and get your thoughts out there. And I'm going to start with what's live here on the chat. So we've got Hollis saying, do you think any major offseason trades are happening? So let me just actually tell all of you this. I'm going to do a reaction of my own to this trade or to this signing, this opt-in tomorrow, where I actually go through and show you, like, here's what's left on the books. Here's what I think the Cubs might do. You know, there's a lot of things that can happen now. Prospects, this potentially blocks prospects. Does that mean that the Cubs can trade them? Does that mean that the Cubs just make them wait a little bit longer? There's going to be a lot of those things that I have reactions to, but I just want to focus on you guys right now. What is your reaction? So, Hollis, let me know what you think. Steven Dunn says, I like it. Say it can now be a full-time DH. Absolutely. Keep him as a DH, 100%. We can give some of the prospects a chance at the big leagues in spurts instead of forcing them into full-time flagged opening day starters. Yes, anytime we can take relief and pressure off the prospects, I love that. Steven, my question back to you is, because there's two outfielders ready to play in the majors this next year, Alcantara and Casey, both end of the year. Well, Alcantara end of the year in the majors, few at bats, and Casey end of the year at AAA where he started as well. Do you think one of those guys gets shipped out, right? Because now you talk about, is Mike Tauchman going to stay on the team because now there's an extra outfielder? Or do they say, okay, it's Bellinger in right, it's PCA in center, and it's Happ in left, say as the full-time DH, and now we have, whether it's Casey or Alcantara performing at AAA or performing out of spring training, do we keep one of them in AAA and keep one of them in the majors and keep flip-flopping them all year long? Or does one of them get dealt and you just hope that you made the right choice? Let me know what you think on that, Steven. Just as everyone with a brain predicted. I don't think so, John. I don't know. I mean, look at what happened today with Snell. He opted out. Snell had a phenomenal second half of the season, but still only made 20 starts, had a 9.51 ERA in like his first 6 or 7 starts. So he was a tale of two seasons, and he still opted out. Kyle Lawson, I'm fine with it. I'm not surprised. Run it back. Yeah, I mean, again, I think if we get the 23 version of Bellinger, we're all happy about this. We're all stoked. And we're all potentially talking about the playoffs come September because we get that big bat. But had he not signed, it was going to be where you're going to get that bat. He also didn't have a horrible 24, said Steven, and dealt with injuries. He was one of our most productive players when healthy. I'm happy he's back. Still had money for a top starter, too. I actually don't agree in full with this, Steven. It's not that I disagree. It's just I don't agree in full with this. He was great in clutch situations. If you look at his runners in scoring position, 2 outs or regular runners in scoring position, he was the best player on the team. But when it came to just consistency, I think he went like 40 games without hitting a home run. Yes, injuries, but remember, he had that major ankle injury in 23, and he ended up playing the same amount of games in 23 versus 24. Now, you could say he rushed himself back in 24. He wasn't quite ready from that, the broken rib, and then the broken wrist. Those were things, of course, that he might have just rushed himself back from due to the fact that the Cubs needed him, and then he didn't perform well because of that. But I would like to see a healthy 150-game Cody Bellinger in 2025 so that we actually know. Now, let me look this up before I start going down this road, and I'll start reading some of these Twitter responses as well. But I'm going on Spotrac right now. If you don't know this website, that shows you all of the contracts for the Cubs. Does he have a no trade clause? I don't think he does. He does not have a no trade clause. So this doesn't necessarily mean that he is on the Cubs in 2025. There's still potentials of him being traded. If you do, you're really just offloading payroll, which right now the Cubs are in a pretty good position for payroll. So what do you think? Do they potentially try to trade Bellinger now that he's opted in? Steven goes on to say, wouldn't be shocked to see one of them moved, another player trying to improve the team, maybe a Vlad trade. We all keep talking about that. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I would love to see that. If they go there for a pitching help and take the risk, they blossom for other teams. Yeah, for sure. And you're talking about the prospects there. John, yes on Snell, but he had a great second half. He started slow with no spring training. Someone will actually pay him. No one was going to give Cody $28 million. I don't think so either, John. But I also don't think that Blake Snell is going to get 30. There's two trains of thoughts here. He had one bad stretch, right, which was the beginning of 2024, and he started late because of not getting into spring training. And so owners and GMs will look at that and say, well, we're just going to pretend like that didn't happen because that was a unique scenario. Or they're going to use that as leverage and say, sorry, Scott Boras and Blake Snell, but you were crap in the beginning of the season, and then you turned it on, so we don't know which version of you we're going to get, so we'll give you 4 years at $20 million each year, or 4 years at 25. I don't know if he's going to get, I think it was 31 was where he was at. I don't know if he gets 31, and I definitely don't think he gets more than a 3 or 4 year contract. He's 31 years old going on 32. Sean Hendrickson, I'm not mad on this move. Same. I think it was inevitable. His power was down, but so was everyone's at Wrigley this last year. I think he gives a guarantee that we are not pursuing Soto unless we get a deal. I don't think we're going to get in the pursuit of Soto anyway, but I do want to tell you guys right now, Sean just mentioned the Wrigley Field factor. I had Porter Hodge, just interviewed him yesterday. I'm going to have that on our channel on Monday. Watch that entire interview. I asked him about the Wrigley Field factor, and we went in a little bit in depth on that, so make sure you don't miss that episode. Great interview, by the way, and really, really fun guy to talk to. Great kid. If you're on here and you're watching, let me know what you think of this in the comments. Are you happy Cody Bellinger opted in, or are you not happy that he opted in? And make sure you like it. We got 24, 25 people in here, only 7 likes. Let's get it up to the full 24. Hollis, Cody seems to play better when the team plays well. I think that was a big issue last year. I think the reason the team played so well during that stretch in 23 was because of Bellinger. It was kind of the chicken or the egg, right? Like, were they good because of Bellinger, or was Bellinger good because of them? I don't know if there's any way to truly know that, but when he was playing at MVP level status in 23, that's when the Cubs were playing really, really well. Going over to some of the Twitter responses, J6 Gaming, Can try to get something on him on the trade deadline. Maybe, I don't know. Interesting for a fact. Again, yeah, we did just talk about that. Is there potential of him still being traded? Gail says, I'm thrilled because they wouldn't have done better. A lot of people did talk about that. I think someone else in the comments here did say, like, they didn't trust Jed with actually having that extra $30 million to go out on the open market, which is disappointing. By the way, guys, if you haven't watched it yet on Netflix, the documentary of the Red Sox, Jed Hoyer is plastered all over that because he was part of that run. People forget he was part of that run with Theo with the Red Sox. And it's so interesting to listen to Theo talk about being bold and being like, you got to just do the things that guys aren't used to seeing within the organization. For example, Kevin Millar was being shipped off to Japan, but Theo went in there and got a contract with them, which is just like, that was an unwritten rule that you don't do that. And I look at that and I'm just like, man, Jed was working right along with him and he just didn't like adopt that into the Cubs. The only bold, quote unquote, thing that happened really recently was Craig Counsell getting signed, and that kind of like fell into his lap. It wasn't that he pursued that. So anyway, really interesting to see Jed all over that. Go check it out. If you guys have watched that, let me know. I want to know what you thought of that too. Intrigued to see, this is from Fly W on Twitter, intrigued to see if and how they improve the offensive roster. Yeah, this is the thing, right? Now that Cody has opted in, it's really tough. And a lot of you were hating on me from a video that I posted yesterday, but Nico or Paredes really only become the options for trading. And I don't think that the Cubs are going to part with Paredes just because they don't have a legitimate ready third baseman in the organization, where they have two ready second basemen in the organization in Matt Shaw and James Trianto. So like, where do you make a trade positionally? The only real upgrade you can make is at catcher, and there's not many good catchers that are on the free agent market. So you're going to have to trade for one. Logan O'Hoppe, Shane Langeliers are names that keep popping up. If you can do that, really that's the only obvious spot to upgrade on for bats. Plus you have Moises Ballesteros coming up as well. Would love it better if he'd stay healthy and hit 30 home runs and drive in 100, says Ronnie Pyle, 100%. Adam Jensen, here was the Jed comment. Honestly, this front office could not be trusted to use the opportunity cost to do better. It would have been two guys. Jed hopes outperform their projections to match the floor of Bellinger. This is the best case for star production. Spend money, Ricketts, says Adam Jensen. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. It would be interesting to see if he would have gone a different route, but I don't think he would have. By the way, the clearly good news in all this, if you don't know, the Cubs did not exercise the option for Drew Smyly. Woo! Done seeing that guy in games anymore. Give me a thumbs up. Give me an amen if you agree that you are glad that Drew Smyly is no longer going to be a Cub. Garrett Cole also opted out, but as soon as he did, I actually was texting some friends. Justin's on this. Great documentary, says Justin. I texted Justin right after that, and I said, I think it's because the Yankees are probably just going to renegotiate the contract and extend him. And that's what it looks like, too. There's been a few notifications saying that he is going to just extend a year. Got a few amens coming in. Barb, what's up, Barb? Sean, amen. Mr. Nacho Man, amen. Yes, absolutely. All right, wrapping this up in a couple minutes here. What other question do I have for you guys? Let's say this. Bellinger, assuming that you get, let's not say 2023 version, but also let's not say 2024 version. So 23, 24, you get somewhere in the middle. Where's the best place for him to bat in the lineup? If they don't add a single guy this offseason positionally, where would you like to see Bellinger bat in the lineup? That was just an ongoing frustration for a lot of people, was the fact that he continued to be number 3 or 3 or 4 in the lineup for most of the year, yet he wasn't producing in a power situation. Where would you like to see him? Where would you like to see him? Let me know in the comments. Still under the cap by 50 million, says Brian Mills. I think it's actually closer to 70 because of Drew Smyly and a few other dropping off as well. Remember that one time he was throwing a perfect game, but Young Gomes tripped him. He didn't trip him up, Mr. Nacho Man. He straight up tackled him. That dude put on his football helmet and tackled him, and then literally put on his football helmet after the game with the reporters. Scott Carricker says hit number 5. I like 5. I like 2 and 5 is where I like. Eli says 3 to 6. We don't have many other power options. Who else could clean up? Bush, Happ, Suzuki. That's the problem, right? We just don't have a lot of power. Suzuki, you keep talking about him potentially being the 30 home run guy. Isak Paredes has had a 30 home run season, but I don't know if you can trust him to do that this year. I think, and that's where the problem lies. I would like to see Suzuki hitting 3 or 4 continued. But that's the problem. If you have a superstar, then Bellinger and Suzuki are hitting 4-5 or 5-6, and then you're not complaining as much about their lack of power. Go get Langleyers, says Sean. Give Amaya and 2 prospects or a few more if they want quantity. Move Nico, Isak, and another prospect or 2-for-1 corner spots via trade. Maybe get Hader and Tanner. That's bold. We're just talking about that, right? I just don't know if Jed has it in him, but I like it. Praise will never scare a pitcher like Belly can. Yeah, I mean, there was something that came out earlier this year was like most feared batters, and Isak Paredes was on it, and it was like voted for by pitchers. And I was just like, wait, really? Like, what version of Isak Paredes did we see that entire second half of the season? Did we just miss something? Because it was bad. It was bad. Okay, I'm going to wrap this thing up. Guys, again, look for a video tomorrow where I go a little bit more in depth on my reaction on what I think about this and where I think the Cubs might go with this, given the extended payroll or lack thereof now that Bellinger is opting in, and maybe some trade moves. There's a lot of speculation. It's not fun. We don't have any sources right now, but there's going to be a lot of things that could happen potentially as a reaction to this Bellinger opting in. We'll talk about that also on Monday. Porter Hodge, I interviewed him. Great interview. Make sure you mark your calendars. Monday, I think it's going to be coming out right around 3 o'clock Central Time. So check it out. Thanks, guys. Have a happy weekend. Cody Bellinger opted in. If you watch this on replay, what do you think? We'll see ya.